the Baltimore Orioles have finally called up Coby Mayo. I still am curious about what took so long. He was absolutely mashing down at AAA after mashing at AAA last year, after mashing at AAA the year before that. Instead of calling Coby Mayo up right away there with Westberg going down and Tyler O'Neill on the IL, which, if you move pieces around, opens up a spot in that batting lineup. Instead, going with players like Arias and Rivera and Laureano. And look, Mayo could be a cornerstone-type player for the Baltimore Orioles. You have an opportunity to give him some playing time. What takes so long? So we're going to dive into this because I am at a point where I am curious as to how much the Baltimore Orioles truly believe in Coby Mayo at this point. Maybe I am just misguided. It has happened before, could be happening now, could happen again. But I feel like we need to consider Coby Mayo as a serious trade candidate for the Baltimore Orioles to bring in the starting pitching that they are going to need to compete in the American League East. And maybe we will see a stretch of time here where he's up and he's getting some run. We'll see Jordan Westberg, where it is that fractured situation he's dealing with. He might be back sooner than initially expected and without the need for a minor league rehab assignment. So how much playing time is Coby Mayo going to get? Is this an audition to prove to major league teams that 17-game stretch from last year in this spring training performance that we saw, that's not who he is. He's the guy who mashes at AAA, and he'll do it at the major league level. You could certainly get some serious pitching back in return for Coby Mayo. So let's dive into the trade machine, as Coby Mayo may be the top prospect that is available between now and the trade deadline. And if you're the Orioles, now look, trade's not going to happen tomorrow, but now is the time to move and act, because that pitching does not look good. Sagano looks good, but outside of that, there are some question marks. I know Dean Kramer pitched well the other day, but still, question marks all over the place in this Orioles rotation. So, who would be a trade partner here for Coby Mayo? And remember, Coby Mayo is a slot him in as soon as you get him kind of guy. So we could think about teams that need an upgrade at third base. And there are some significant teams that fit that qualifier. The Milwaukee Brewers, Philadelphia Phillies, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, the Yankees all could use an upgrade at third base. But we can eliminate two teams right off the bat, that being the Blue Jays and the Yankees. The Orioles would never trade Coby Mayo if they're going to trade him to an American League East rival. And if you're the Blue Jays and the Yankees, I don't think you want to pay that premium that maybe it would take to get him. And the Jays and Yanks are not going into sell mode. So it's not like the Orioles are going to be able to trade Coby Mayo for Kevin Gausman and another piece. It's not going to. We're not going down that road. So we got to find the right trade partner. Yanks, Jays wouldn't be there. I also think the Brewers, we can eliminate them as well, because I don't think this Milwaukee team can afford to part with any of their pitching to bring Mayo on board. So they will remain in need of a third base upgrade. Now, the Dodgers and Phillies are interesting. The Dodgers have been dealing with a struggling Max Muncy. They're calling up Kim. Maybe he'll be the answer. Maybe he won't. So we'll see what happens in L.A. And as far as Philly goes, I don't know. Alec Boehm up and down. Is he the guy? Is he not the guy? What do we do? I think we have a spot with the Dodgers and the Phillies where we can at least sort of keep them going along this process in the trade machine. How about some of the more aggressive teams in terms of front office, in terms of general manager activity, in terms of trades? There's 5 teams that are in that mode going for it this year that could maybe get involved here or maybe not. Think about Seattle. It would probably be Luis Castillo. And are they really going to trade him in season? I don't think so. The Texas Rangers, they've got Josh Young. I don't see them giving up on him. The San Diego Padres have Manny Machado at third base. And really, again, what is Baltimore looking for here? They're going to be looking for right now pitching back. San Diego's not going to part with any of that. Neither would the Mets, and the Mets have Vientos, they're fine, and neither would the Braves. So these aggressive teams are all going to be out on a Coby Mayo trade. So we get to 3 prime suspects for potential Coby Mayo trade partners. The Miami Marlins, who are in sell mode, the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are in sell mode, and the Minnesota Twins, who are staring sell mode right down the barrel with the way their season is going. And with Minnesota's situation financially, again, there's more reason to think that maybe Minnesota would be interested in selling and moving on from one of their high-priced pitching pieces. So for Miami, obviously, the primary target is going to be Sandy Alcantara. For Minnesota, the primary target would be Pablo Lopez. He's making some significant money. $21 million, 21.7 to be exact, for this year, next year, and the year after. But that's not that long of a commitment. Again, that's 2 more years beyond this year. And if you're trading Coby Mayo in his 6 years of control, you need to be getting pitching back that has multiple years under contract. That's the nice thing about Sandy Alcantara. Sandy Alcantara is the best one here. And from the stuff category, I think you may be able to argue he is the best. But then also from a contract perspective, you could argue that he is the best. He's $17.3 million this year, $17.3 next, and then a club option for $21 million for a 3rd year. That's pretty good. When you're talking about years and dollars, it's very team friendly. So we have Miami, we have Minnesota, and for Pittsburgh, maybe Mitch Keller here. Think about it. If you're Pittsburgh, you're going already. I hate to say it, we just flipped the calendar to May, but it feels like Pittsburgh's going nowhere. And they just gave about 12, 18 months ago, Mitch Keller a big-time extension. And they may be regretting that, considering the trajectory of the team right now and the fact that they have so much young pitching under control that is also cheap. So there may be an interest for them to move on from Keller and that money. And if you're Baltimore and you can grab Mitch Keller, that's something you should probably look into. So we have 5 teams that we will build trades for: Minnesota, Miami, Pittsburgh, the Dodgers, and the Philadelphia Phillies. When we are building our trades, we will use baseball trade values to attempt to remove any biases that I have. We will bring in a third party in BBTV. And to get us started along this path, let's talk about Coby Mayo's trade value. In baseball trade values, he has a $26.1 million value. And for context, remember Coby Mayo's the 12th ranked prospect in baseball by MLB.com? The number 11 ranked prospect is Sammy Basayo, and his value is at 57.5. Wait, 57.5, 26? Well, surely, Jim, it's because it's just trending down from there. So the number 13 prospect would have to be below 26, right? We're just trending headed to the Dodgers, but we can't just send Mayo, because truth be told, the Dodgers are not the best trade partner. You have a pitching staff that has been decimated by injuries, so we can't grab a ton of pitching prospects. And the Orioles really aren't looking for pitching prospects. They're looking for proven pitchers. And the Dodgers need all of their proven starting pitchers right now. So we have trouble there. And then from a prospect standpoint, it's not as easy of a trade to pull off there either. And I'll explain in a moment. So we have to include a piece to the Dodgers that brings the value down. And with that in mind, we send Charlie Morton's contract to the Dodgers as well to get the Orioles out from the remainder of that salary, which brings our value down. So Mayo and Morton head to the Dodgers, and if you're the Dodgers, to get Morton or to get Mayo, you got to eat Morton's contract. I think you would do that. Tony Gonsolin would head to the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles fans, you would have 2 years of Tony Gonsolin. Tony Gonsolin has proven himself to be a more than capable pitcher. I would like where Gonsolin would fit in this rotation. A solid 3, maybe a 4 at worst. And the reason why it's Gonsolin and not anybody really any better than that, number one, I don't think they would be available under any circumstance. Many Dodger fans would argue that Gonsolin's not available right now, but maybe this trade doesn't happen right now. Maybe this trade happens down the road in a month or two. So it would be Gonsolin to the Orioles, and Also, to get our value up, because Gonsolin is not enough on his own, it's Josue DePaula, who would be headed to the Baltimore Orioles. So the Orioles would essentially, Mayo would be out, DePaula would be in from a prospect standpoint. And DePaula, for those not aware, is 19 years old, and he's already the number 37 prospect in Major League Baseball. 19 years old and at number 37, and he's rising. Mayo's kind of peaked at that number 12 spot. DePaula's rising. So if you are able to turn Mayo into another rising prospect, that works. And if you are looking at this from the Dodgers' perspective, you are, in a sense, right now, in the moment, upgrading, going from the number 37 to the number 12. And again, Mayo's there right now. DePaula is still a couple of years away. So this trade gets Mayo to the Dodgers. He fits in there right away. Again, Muncy's been struggling. I know they called up Kim, but we have to see what Kim can do. This is a long shot trade. This is, by definition, a long shot. Most likely unlikely. Yeah. Trade to happen. But when we looked at, again, this is our trade machine video. We are hypothesizing different types of trades, likely and unlikely, high confidence and low confidence. This is our best Dodgers trade. Doesn't put the Dodgers in a good position to land Coby Mayo. The Philadelphia